Hello, everybody, and welcome to session 2 of Veil of Shadows on here on Open for Adventure. I am Mare, your dungeon master, and we'll quickly go around, introduce ourselves, and who we are playing. Sev.
Hi, I'm Sev, or Guildmaster Sev, and I'm playing Agatha, the human shadow sorcerer.
Shadow.
Hi, I'm Shadow. I'm playing Alva, who is the Urchinasi bard.
Forta.
I'm Forta. I'll be playing Ugo Go, the half-orc paladin.
And Noir.
Hi, I'm Noir, he, him, and I am playing Halcyed the Shadarkai monk, also he, him.
And then Forta, I think you were going to go do a recap?
Yes. Bear with me because some of the things that happened, my brain is just like, ah.
It's fine. It's fine.
So we opened our session speaking with the head scribe, I think she was.
Yep.
And she gave us the rundown of everything that had happened. They lost a team, or at least half of one, inside the Shadowfell. The half that came back was the half that certain party members hoped would come back. So shade was thrown when we went to get further information. There were some heartfelt moments there in the office, and then we went and asked questions. Further shade was thrown. We went and talked to a goblin professor. He finally gave us the pertinent info that Ugo was after, and then we went and got our mounts. And for those who weren't here, that includes a rhinoceros, a broom, a lovely pony, and a horse named Horse. Let's see. We go out into the desert, we're trekking along, everything's going fine, and then the sky goes dim. And we come across, for a bit, it's just dim. We come across over a hill, and there is a set of couple hard, hard stand buildings, couple tents that are less permanent. And it's very quiet, and nobody answers when Ugo calls out. We quickly find out why when Halcyed and Agatha go scouting ahead and discover very disturbing creatures wandering among these tattered tents. They were called Sorrowsworn. They did a fair bit of damage, all things considered. There was a group fireball. Halcyed did monk things and shredded the crap out of at least 2 of them. And now we're having a talk about that, among other things.
So we open up to where someone, I don't recall who, pulled up some, maybe not chairs, because there's definitely some burning chairs after the fireball, pulled up into a rough circle where Halcyed offered to have a sit-down chit-chat before entering the breach.
Well, thank you all for your time. This last encounter showed that we're all capable, individually. But as you can all imagine, the Shadowfell will require more from us. So, I'd like to take a moment while our life is not under threat to understand exactly what it is that all of you do, what you're good at, and what we can rely on you to handle.
This is a wise conversation to have. If we are to move as a unit, we must fight as a unit. To that end, I am best suited in the thick of things, and that includes the thick of you all. I can offer support in surprising ways. You'll find you fight better by my side than far from me.
I see.
I just like to cause chaos. So I have this sword that lights up, very bright, many fire, and then I can help. I can do a little healing here and there. Otherwise, it's mostly damage magic that I do. Also, good berries.
I cannot do the latter, but mostly combat and a bit of healing.
I will admit I'm not used to fighting in groups. My abilities tend to attack multiple creatures at once. But I am good at moving through the shadows.
As am I. I am an able scout. I have been trained to use my hands as weapons, and I have a certain understanding of death that makes it very difficult for me to die. And I can utilize this to show my foes their death. It tends to draw them away from me.
Well,
Seems-
hopefully after this last encounter, we'll learn to work better together.
Indeed. I doubt another of those fireballs would be helpful in the Shadowfell itself. I would be fine. Ox, however, just pets this rhino.
I apologize. I will definitely keep that in check next time
Thank
we
you.
find a scuffle.
Should you find me a factor in your judgment as to whether or not to unleash its spell, I'm quite nimble, and I trust my ability to escape the wrath of your arcane. So just do it.
I'll keep that in mind.
I also do not mind getting hit by an occasional fireball, mostly for the story.
It does make a good story.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
But I have this feeling that our two what is the word that we would use? Scouts?
yes.
Perhaps Agatha and yourself, Hal. I think it might be wise that Ugo and I hold back a little bit, and that way, Agatha, if you want to throw a fireball at a lot of things a lot of time, you're not necessarily doing it at the party as well.
Yes, it would be best if I hang back. I am not suited for scouting. Says this big buff half-orc in heavy plate armor.
Now, if I recall correctly, I believe Ugo, you've demonstrated a capacity for healing. Does anyone
Yes.
else share this ability?
Alva did mention she can do a bit of healing.
A little bit, here and there.
I just
Also,
cause
if
damage.
you happen to die, sometimes I can bring you back.
Yes.
It's a neat little trick I picked up.
I have also brought along some equipment for such things.
I am unable to heal. However, I am able to subsist off the souls of my fallen enemies. If you see me in combat with something that I have weakened, I ask that you let me finish it. Doing so allows me to consume its soul and to restore myself, if only temporarily.
I have no problem with that.
It seems necessary. Thus, I will let it be.
I'm just speechless at this.
Make an interesting story. Where do you continue on from here?
Shall we?
Would this be a short rest?
Yeah, I'd say this is definitely a short rest. I would definitely say this is like by the time you've traveled, by the time you've had this conversation and the combat, it's probably like mid-late afternoon.
Yeah,
It is. You could see the sun peek just its shape through the darkness in the sky, though its light does not cut through the shadow you are all in.
I am gonna use some hit die to recover
Sure.
fully and
Okay.
take my short rest.
Perfect.
You also gain an additional 1d10 hit die. Or
Oh,
to add.
you are a
Because
saint.
I'm a bard.
Nice. Oh, shoot, where did I write that down?
Who made that survival check last session? I think it was Ugo Go.
I think so. I don't remember.
Okay, I think it was Ugo Go. Ugo Go, you would estimate that you would make it to the breach probably in several hours if you continued on into the evening.
All right. When we reach it, shall we take a full rest before pressing on? Or do we intend to do so within?
I can't imagine it would be smart to rest in the Shadowfell. Though perhaps right when we enter would be easier than later.
Has anyone here besides me been to the Shadowfell?
No, I have not.
No.
Individuals from the material plane have a interesting reaction to the Shadowfell. It will be difficult for you to rest at first. But rest is possible in the Shadowfell.
Well, that's good to know.
You may also lose your mind.
Suppose that's also good to know.
Is this a common effect of planes? I've encountered at least one other with this sort of nature.
I have only ever been to the Shadowfell, the material plane, and the Feywild.
There's a
Wonder
lot
what
of
the
places.
Feywild is like.
It is maddening. I do not recommend it. I did not enjoy it.
So perhaps we travel a bit forward, then we take a bit of a rest, and then we plunge headfirst into disaster and insanity.
That sounds like a reasonable plan.
Indeed it does. Onward then. He's going to stand up and be ready to go.
Hold your mouths tight. They will also be rather frightened.
Ah, Alva. Your pony. If you intend to take her with us into the Shadowfell, we should probably tie her reins to Ox. That way she cannot flee too far.
That would be a good idea. I don't think she's rather fond of horse, unfortunately. So ox might be the more optimal choice.
It's just a fucking the camera shows horse just bullying.
Poor pony! Which is hilarious because usually it's the other way around with a
Yeah.
horse and a pony.
Oh, poor mistletoe.
Aw.
We must protect this precious bead.
Yes.
Oh gosh. So the four of you ride. How close do you set up camp to the breach?
I would figure a little over halfway between where we're at and the Shadowfell would be a good idea, so we're not super close, if everyone agrees with that.
The closest I'd want to get is within an hour's ride of it.
I was gonna say 120 feet.
Not all of us are from the Shadowfell.
Well, I suppose that's fair.
In time, how close do you get? Hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours, 120 feet?
Alva would push to be 30 minutes outside.
Okay.
I would try to push us
That's fine
forward.
with me.
Okay.
Very well.
There'd be some brief pushback from Ugo, but like honestly, he wants to get this over with too.
The four of you make way towards the breach in the Shadowfell, leaking into the material plane. The closer you get, the darker it gets. At some point, Alva, you will have to make some kind of light source to see.
Got it.
Mechanically, it does not really matter what you use, but you will need something to see for you and Mistletoe. And actually, horse and ox as well, but regardless. You get closer and closer, and it does get colder and darker. And by the time you are ready to make camp, you can see in the distance not exactly a circle, but definitely a large tear in space, where you see darkness flowing and moving across the land. The closer you get, it feels more heavy in the air. Stiller. You don't hear or feel any wind. And by the time it is actually dark outside of this darkness against the desert, it is pitch black and you see no stars or moon. As you set up camp to rest for the night, what are your watches? If you're setting up watch. I'm assuming you're setting up watch.
I'll go first. I only need to meditate for 4 hours.
Ugo would want to watch somewhere in the middle.
Agatha can take up the last one. I'll also set up. I have alarms, so I'll set up an alarm around where we're camping.
Good plan.
Are we taking 4 watches or 3?
If we only take 3, which of us will not be the one watching?
That is my question.
Perhaps a contest
We
to
could take
determine
4.
it. Or 4
You see-
watches works as well.
I just let's just do 4. Let's just do 4.
Fine by me.
I'll take second to last.
Hugo looks visibly saddened by this. The potential of having not taken a watch and just sleeping the whole night through. Just like, choice.
First
So,
watch.
okay, so
Okay.
first watch is Hal, second watch is...
Hugo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Does Ugo show any signs of, like, being bummed out that he has to take a watch?
Like, yes, but not seriously so.
Okay.
He's got no actual qualms with taking a watch, just... He was looking forward to the chance to have a ridiculous game of some kind.
The possibility of sleep.
And then third watch was Alva, and then Agatha? Okay. Hal, Ugo, and Alva. Actually, everyone's watches go by uneventfully. It seems that whatever creatures snuck out of this breach before either are not coming through or they are long gone in a direction that you have not come from or traveled. However, Agatha, while you are sleeping, feeling the Shadowfell press upon your consciousness as you fall asleep, your dreams start out normal, but they slowly fade into an unfamiliar setting. You are tall, much taller than the trees of the forest you see before you. You see mountains out in the distance, and the sky is pitch black with no sky nor stars. You cannot tell if it is daytime or nighttime, neither. You're not sure where you are. But you move. The ground vibrates under your feet as you travel. And this scene goes on and fades until you are woken up from your watch by Alva.
Probably definitely shakes me a bit because it's not something I have experienced before. And subconsciously, I wonder if this has something to do with being so close to the Shadowfell, but I don't. Unless Alva says anything about an outward appearance of me waking up from a seemingly nightmare, I don't say anything.
Are you okay, little one? Did you sleep okay?
I had a bit of a strange dream, but I suppose it's probably just being so close to the Shadowfell. Worries and all of that. I'm sure it's nothing.
This is true. I fear that all of us will be a little changed by the end of this. But just remember, you have friends here. And we will take care of each other, and we will get through this together.
Thank you, Alva. I know I can always count on you.
And then I'm gonna reach over and like ruffle your hair, if you'll permit that.
What's under your hand?
Okay, well, keep your eyes open. Let us know if anything goes wrong. Otherwise, I'm gonna go to sleep.
Sleep well.
As I mentioned earlier, Agatha, your watch is silent, other than any movement from the mounts or your traveling companions. And eventually, morning does come, though it is hard to tell if it is actually morning with how dark it is. Regardless, you all got a significant amount of rest. Halcyed, after you took your rest, what did you do for the rest of the evening? Because you are an elf and you trance.
He started walking towards the entrance a little bit, and he's watching his hands to see if they begin to show signs of wrinkling.
You're about, how close do you get? Because you're about 30 minutes out, I think y'all said.
He would push it a little bit.
Sure.
Just like he's walking to see when it starts to happen.
500 feet. 500 feet out. So you gotta walk a good chunk. But you're fast. You're speedy.
Yeah. He just flies back and puts the hood on and then gets the mask on.
Do you want to describe to everyone what your mask looks like?
That's this guy here. He's just gonna put this on.
Nice.
And he makes sure to cover any exposed skin, so his arms and his arms are gonna be covered. He's gonna put on gloves, just no skin whatsoever.
So Agatha and Alva, you would notice. Well, probably just Agatha because you had to go out for a good chunk to get out there. But in the morning, you all do see this. The horses, mostly Mistletoe, seem anxious the closer you get. The broom doesn't care. Ox does not care, nor does horse.
Yeah, horse has definitely seen this before.
No one seems phased besides Mistletoe with the shadows.
I'm just going to be petting Mistletoe, whispering sweet nothings in Mistletoe's ear, and just whispering, telling Mistletoe over and over again, just stay next to Ox. Alva will have in her hand an unlit torch, but I am going to keep casting light on it so that it is a light source as
so
we move forward.
You're not actually lighting the torch, you're just using light on the torch. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You continue on? Okay. You get closer and closer to this breach of shadow with moving darkness, kind of almost like a wind, but it's not actually a wind, heading towards you. Halcyed, you do feel your body change a little bit as you get closer to your home plane.
When he feels it start to happen, he's going to stop abruptly and just... There's something further that you must all be aware of. My home plane has an effect on my appearance. It will not hamper my abilities, it is just rather uncomfortable. And so, I will cover it up. But he's just gonna take the mask off for a second and just show them, this is what it does to me. And he looks old as shit. just old. Like skin sagging from the eyes, old.
Will this happen to us if we stay there long enough?
No. This is the burden of the Shadowkai. But you would take care to solidify your mental fortitude. I will have an easier time keeping my mind together. And so the cost as my body falls apart. You will need to make sure that you hold close your memories, because they will be taken from you if you slack.
Mm-hmm.
Just put it back on.
At about
Very well.
At about the same time, Halcyed has this conversation with you. Agatha, you do feel a stirring in your chest. Nothing bad, but something deep down stirs.
Okay. Well, I certainly don't care what you look like, Halcyed.
Thank you. I'm not prone to vanity, though this is a discomfort that is shared by most of my kin. It's not important. We should continue.
I'm ready if the rest of you are.
Then let us be on our way. The Shadowfell awaits.
I'm gonna pull out my pan flute and I'm just gonna play kind of like a soft but warm song just as we start to enter the darkness.
You enter the breach. As you enter, you feel an icy cold wash all over you. Though for Agatha and Halcyed, it is not as chill, and it almost feels like you are passing the threshold of a home as one of you arrives somewhere that you have not been in some time. And another, it feels like you have entered a second home. The vortex behind you is still there, open up into the desert sands, though it is in a negative, like a photo negative. And the group of you have stepped out into a forest full of darkness and what seem to be moving shadows, though everything is still. Just through the branches, you can see a dark sky void of moon and stars. And everyone except Halcyed, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw. Agatha, you have advantage.
You get a +3 on that if you're within 10 feet of me.
Fucking paladins.
23. Dirty.
Jeez.
13.
Okay. And Agatha.
12.
Okay. The three of you, Halcyed, you can palpably tell the difference as you walk in, though it washes over you like a smooth stone. But Agatha, Alva, and Ugo Go, you feel an impressionable sorrow and apathy and dread pressed down upon your consciousness, and you need to fight to keep it out and pressing it upon your entity. Horse also notices it and steps a couple steps to the side, but quickly settles down. Ox does something similar, huffs several times throughout his nose. Seems okay. And Mistletoe, while uneasy, she seems to be okay.
I'll resume whispering into Mistletoe's ear, and I would shed another single tear if anybody sees just the quick wipe of a tear.
When Horse starts to freak out, Hal is just gonna brush his mane, and in deep speech, he's just gonna lull. This is who we are. This is fine.
This is so good. Ugo just gently pats Ox and then kind of reaches down and goes, pat, pat to Mistletoe. And says, you'll be all right, small horse.
Oh, I love it. You have entered the Shadowfell. In the middle of a forest, of what looks like to be a forest, so a little bit of a shock going from empty desert into very forested area. Where do you go from here?
Hal, Saeed, is all of the Shadowfell like this, or are there different landscapes?
The Shadowfell is as wide and varied as the material plane, but it exists to drive you mad, so the landscape can change in a moment. This place wants you lost and broken.
Interesting.
If-
Do,
Sorry, go ahead.
do you have any suggestions on where we should head?
I can't say for sure, but I can tell you that staying still is a death sentence, so we should move.
Anyone who would like to, you can roll general Arcana check for planar stuff.
I'm gonna roll it, but I'm not gonna do very well. No,
That's okay.
that's a 7.
That's okay.
Hold on. I got a thing. So I rolled an 18.
Nice.
Nice.
I love it.
I rolled a nat 20, which makes it a 28.
Okay.
Nice.
And Alva, are you rolling as well or no?
Yeah, I got an 11, but I would also say Alva is pretty distracted with the
Okay.
scenery at the
Okay.
same time.
That's fair. Halcyed and Agatha, you are the most well-versed in planar knowledge for different reasons. Halcyed, you grew up here. You are aware of what it's like. So basically anything that Noir knows, more or less, is what Halcyed knows in terms of the Shadowfell is basically a kind of like a mirror of the material plane. It has a tendency to warp distances and such and the like and can change. Agatha, you have a little bit of different knowledge because of your time at the university. Lumalore actually is not from this material plane. So it has books about planar lore from other planes. So the fact that you walked from the desert into a forest is odd because any books you have read about the Shadowfell, usually it mirrors what you saw on the material. So the fact that it's not a desert coming into here is odd. But as Halcyed said, it's meant to drive you mad. Halcyed, this wouldn't be odd to you unless you have read those books, but you knew the Shadowfell first and then went to the material plane. So it might not click at first, but if you've read any of the books from the university, this is also something you would know with your role.
Yeah. So yeah, he does note that it is strange that we're not in a desert.
Yeah.
He would probably just speak to it as the presumption is that the portal moved us in space as well. So we did not enter a door as much as we may have entered a tunnel.
That would make sense. More sense than us not being in a desert and walking through a doorway into a forest.
I fear that perhaps we need what do you call it? Like a marker of sorts. If we are to travel a distance from the door, we need to know how to get back to the door.
What if the land shifts and change? I doubt a marker will aid us as much as we hope. I will leave one.
the door.
He goes to a tree nearby and kind of starts etching into it, but
As you etch into it, the sap that seeps from the bark is viscous and pitch black, like ichor. Some of these trees actually do bear fruit, but it looks gnarled and twisted. Though Agatha and Halcyed, you would know it's edible.
speaking of, Ugo turns to Halcyed and goes, "Of the creatures and plants here, what is edible and what is poison?"
I will roll a. Can I roll a survival check?
I would say because you're from here, you would know.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah.
so he's just gonna go. You could eat that. It will make your stomach hurt for some time, but it is rather good. That will kill you painfully. That will make you cry for days. That's good. It's just going.
And as you're explaining what's edible and what's poison, Ugo pulls a basket off of Ox's back and some sacks out of it and starts putting good in one sack and poison in another. And the sadness fruit he kind of looks at and just kind of puts in a third sack for later.
It's a shame. The maple from that tree is very delicious, but it will make you speak nothing but the most vile truths to your friends.
Pulls out a vial and tries to get some in there. Maybe gets 2 vials.
Hey,
That could come in handy.
yeah.
God, what have I done?
I'm here for it.
I'm writing that down.
You've given
So many
a barbarian the cheat sheet.
That's it for this area. But I brought rations for a month, so I will be fine.
I also have good berries.
Lots of good berries.
Good
I
berries
have
are
rations
handy.
as well.
I have brought something that will bring us water. And out from this same basket that he pulled the sacks, he pulls out this jug that's got funky little extra not faucets, spouts off of it. They're all corked, but it sloshes in his hand and he puts it back.
I think you're all seasoned enough adventurers to recognize an alchemy jug when you see one.
Oh shoot, we should have talked to Gear.
Out of character, this basket is a reflavored what's the word?
Bag of holding, handy
yes.
haversack.
Well, we should continue forward.
Shall we pick a random direction?
There's no better way.
Before we do, I know that light is not something that we probably would see here, but are there any notably less dark regions, if that makes sense?
Before I answer that question, Alva, did you light your torch before or after you entered?
It would have had the light cantrip on it before we entered.
Okay, that's fine. Make me a perception check, Ugo Go.
Alrighty.
Oh my god, you said that. What spooky thing is about to happen?
Well, it's not a natural 1.
Oh, that's good.
Unfortunately, it is a 2.
It's all dark. It's all shades of gray and darkness, especially to your dark vision. The way the trees move without wind makes the shadows move, and it's really hard to tell if any direction is darker than another. Especially with all the trees and stumps and branches in the way, too. Anything going out more than a couple dozen feet is moot point.
With that, Ugo's going to light his lantern. It's hooded. He kind of keeps it in a 5-foot little radius. It doesn't glow in the way that normal lanterns do. Its light is a slightly off color.
Your lantern and Alva's torch, the light does not go as far as it should. It is, while it does expel light, it is essentially halved.
Mhm.
and it does not feel as welcoming and warm as it normally would. Muted, so to speak.
Well-
I'm going to see if there's anything that I might be able to recognize to point us in a direction. Oh, can I look for tracks?
Sure. Are you looking for animal tracks, people tracks? And are you looking for any specific, what are you looking for? Where do you want to try and head specifically?
I want to see if I can find the tracks of the adventurers that made it out.
Oh, yeah. Make a survival check.
Screw it, I just roll here. That's gonna be a 17.
You are able to find some of them, though they are trod upon by others. They are several weeks old. So figuring out and following them for to get out of the forest is unlikely, because it just gets become more of a mess and more of a mess in general. Yeah.
But I could tell what direction they were coming from.
Yes. If you wanted to track specifically them, you'll have a hard time. But you can get a general direction.
Alright, so he's just gonna look at the dirt, kind of pick some of it up. I have a heading. It's not too terribly much, but it's something to start with.
Anything is a good start.
Just gonna fly, fly and land on horse and just start trotting off.
It was so unnecessary, and I love it.
As he was searching for the adventurers tracks, Ugo would have been looking for creature tracks to try and add to his personal knowledge of what can be found in the region.
Okay. You can also roll a survival check.
Sick. That is a 17 as well.
Since you are not looking for adventure tracks, you are able to find more recent animal tracks. It seems like in this area, it's something you do see hoof marks, claw marks, like for large paws, but they're larger. And the claw portion is longer and digs deeper into the dirt as you find these tracks. So something a little more dangerous than what you would normally find on the material plane.
And he's going to ask Halcyed about these different tracks to see if he knows what they are.
He's gonna hop down and take a look at them, and I'm gonna do
Nature.
nature. Oh, actually, no, not physical. Digital. Ki. Okay, that's an 18.
Yeah. Dire wolf, something along those lines. Probably a shadow version of a deer. Just in general, that creatures, non-native creatures that are in here for a long time, have a tendency to adapt.
This would appear to be wolf tracks and deer tracks. You should be aware that the creatures that you encounter here will exhibit signs of this plague, so be on your guard.
Will they still be edible?
Shadow Mastiff isn't that bad, actually. Just takes forever to cook. It's because the meat dims the light of the fire, makes it so you have to slow roast it. But yes, it's edible.
Slow roasted. Careful now, you'll make me hungry. Off we go.
Did you pack no rations?
I packed a few. But nothing beats slow roasted meat.
I should also warn you all. Well, sorry to interrupt, but necrotic energy. It is native to this plane. Many of the creatures that you encounter here, myself included, will be rather tolerant of that particular sort of energy.
One last thing I will say before we go to break is Halcyed and Alva. You two, as you begin traveling in the direction of where your first party left, you see a single lone raven following you, just keeping an eye on you quietly and watching. And we will go to our break. Everybody, please take a moment to hydrate, stretch, pet your pets, and we will be back in like 10 minutes. Bye. Hello, everybody, and we are back from break. We last left off with our group beginning to make their way through this forest in the middle of the Shadowfell. Before we left for break, both Alva and Halcyed noticed a single lone raven silently flying through the branches and following them. Are there any conversations you would like to have as you travel before we continue on?
Al doesn't say anything, but he visibly tenses.
Is something the matter?
Yes, but to what degree I am uncertain.
Then we must be on guard. As though we were not to be on guard prior.
Alva, do you say anything?
No. I will not say anything specifically about the bird. But is that the only thing that's in the sky?
That you can
Or are there like other...
Well, with your limited vision of light source, it's really hard to tell for you. Speaking of light source, while you're traveling, is the method you're using for illumination always going to be your light cantrip on your torch?
Predominantly right now, yes.
Okay. I believe light lasts an hour, and you will need to recast it. I need you to roll me a spellcraft check, please, as you attempt to cast light again.
Okay.
So it's going to be a d20 plus your charisma modifier.
So that's a 17.
As you cast it again, you do have to push your magic through kind of like not necessarily a fog, but a barrier to get your torch to illuminate. It was an effort. It felt like the light was just wanted to be snuffed out. But you're able to.
Everyone would just kind of hear like this like chuckle, and then kind of like, well, it'll have to try harder next time.
It will.
Agatha, is there anything you would like to say before I move on?
I'm just probably watching very closely around us, and also kind of when I'm not watching around, I'm kind of just feeling like sensing how I feel like personally, like how things are seemingly affecting me. With the stir and the dream, I want to keep a close eye on that.
All right. It seems to have since settled since you've come across the threshold, but it is more apparent to you. Like you've always known it's there, but it's kind of like removing a veil, where you are really just noticing it.
Okay.
As you continue on, eventually the trees do thin out and they break. And you are looking upon what seems to be a savanna with just low shrubs with the occasional tree with a large canopy. In the distance, you see a couple things. In one direction, you see a light, kind of similar to what Alva is holding, a torch. It's bobbing as if moving, and definitely in the air, so it's not close to the ground. In another direction, you see a tall, it's not a castle or a fortress, but definitely a walled area. You can see pointed tips of buildings. No light. Alva, you probably wouldn't see this. This is probably most prominent to Agatha. Most because I think you have the longest dark vision. And possibly Halcyed as well. I don't remember what your shadow sorcerers get, but
120 feet.
Okay. So Halcyed and Agatha, you're able to see this. Though no details, just the shapes.
Well, there seems to be a light source of some sort in that direction. And some sort of fortress, perhaps, settlement in the other.
Shall we
So,
investigate the fortress or the light?
If we're lucky,
Perhaps.
perhaps the light is who we're looking for, but
That is true. Also, Swiss.
Swess.
Swiss noted the feeling of the light in the darkness. Perhaps this was the light that was being referred to.
Oh, that was Priscilla.
Oh, Priscilla.
Priscilla's the one that mentioned that when Ugo Go was asking about scrying across the threshold.
Ah,
right.
Yeah.
Then let us approach the light. And
I would recommend that we scout it ahead of time.
This would be wise.
This is the home of darkness. It would be wise to remember that light here is often used to attract strays, like moths in the material plane.
how far away does the light seem to be? Can I tell how far?
It's hard to tell exact, but definitely outside your 120-foot vision. Definitely in the hundreds of feet.
Okay.
But with how clear this area is, and just the nature of the Shadowfell in general, when there is a light source, it is very apparent.
Okay.
So the fact that you can see it is not odd. Just rolling over from your Arcana check from earlier, you would know that it is just a nature of the plane to be able to see light source for very, very long distances.
You said it's only a couple 100 feet away.
Yes, several. Definitely, I'd say over 3, less than 800.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I can go scout it really quickly. It would only take me moments.
I can also move fairly quickly in the darkness, so between the two of us, we could get there and back fairly quickly.
And then we just wait here.
Oh
Can
my
agree
God.
with this.
How fast can you move?
Well, I have Shadow Walk.
Can you read that for me? I know, isn't it just going from shadow to shadow?
When you are in dim light or darkness, as a bonus action, you can magically teleport up to 120 feet to an unoccupied space you can see that is also in dim light or darkness.
Okay, you would have to use that several times.
Yeah.
Halcyed?
I move 65 feet, and when I take the dash action, I get to add an additional 10 feet. So in 24 seconds, he can move 300 feet.
I'm sorry, how many seconds? 6 seconds?
24.
Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. I love it. Like, I'm
Monks,
not...
man!
I'm not... Monks!
Just becomes Usain Bolt.
So he's darting, and Agatha's just teleporting forward.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna take out a dice set and be like, Ugo, would you like to play a game of dice?
I think I would. Just watch that zoom, watch teleport. It's just like, I'm going to grasp the one normal thing here. And that
We
is
know our
dice.
strengths.
Then at the last 50 feet, he's just gonna take off into the sky.
Okay.
This party is
great.
so extra.
I love this so much.
Halcyed and Agatha, please make stealth checks. I don't think there's any problems with you getting there.
Oh boy.
Let's see.
Oop.
28.
Okay. My shadowy friends, you should... I hope there are not any issues.
14.
Are you flying? Or are you teleporting?
No. Well, I'm teleporting.
You're teleporting, okay.
Yeah.
You both... How close are you getting? Within dark vision range?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Okay.
For me, that's 60 feet.
Okay, that's 60 feet for you, okay.
So I'm a little further back.
Okay, in that case, neither of you seem to be noticed as you approach a small group. There's 4 travelers, all 4 humanoid shape. You can't really tell colors because it's the Shadowfell, so it's really more of grays and blacks to your vision. But you see 4 creatures that look similar to Alva, but some of their hair is made out of water. These would be water genasi, and they are carrying a couple bullseye lanterns, and they just seem to be traveling. They are very quiet. Even when you were back there, as you were like traveling away, noise carried for a bit. When Alva was asking Ugo Go if he wanted to play dice.
I will be looking to Halcyed to see what he does before I either move closer or further away.
Okay.
Hal is probably going to descend in front of them. Just, I mean you no harm.
Descending out of nowhere. The 4 of them are obviously startled. They did not see you. And at least 2 put their hands on weapons at their hips. Just kind of cautiously looking at you.
He's still nonchalant just in front of them.
Yeah, if he
Mask
tries
on
to
and
descend, I'll
everything.
walk forward.
Hello?
It would
Hello.
be wise to hood your light. You are a beacon in this land.
One in the back pipes up. We need the light to see.
How did you end up here?
They kind of give you a look. Just make me a quick persuasion check.
So Hal's charisma is a full-on 9, so I'm not even gonna attempt to help you with this.
That's fair. That's fair.
20. Dirty.
Plus, he's a spooky dude wearing this right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You are
least a little-
unnerving.
At least to look a little bit more approachable. A little.
The 4'11" human woman is much more
Mhm.
approachable than this masked figure.
Yeah.
Oh, also he's like 6'2", so it's like really creepy.
Yeah. There is a massive height difference between Agatha and Halcyed.
Mm-hmm.
The one with very long, watery hair in the front pipes up. We had a portal appear on the plane of water. We kind of popped in.
How long have you been here?
They kind of side-eye Agatha while they're about to answer you. Kind of looking to Agatha that it's okay. About a week.
Are you well? This plane can have effects on the minds of others.
The one up front and the one in back kind of give you a look, but the two in the middle are looking off to the side, eyes distant.
Do you have food?
We have food. I'm okay. Compatriot in the back is okay. These two have been, well,
Rattles.
apathetic.
I see.
Did the portal you came through close before you could go back through, or did you just start wandering?
Oh, if we stayed in the plane of water, we would have died, so we took
I see.
the unknown route instead of death.
Well, we also came through a portal, though it wasn't on the plane of water. We could perhaps give you a general direction of where it is, so hopefully you could make your way there.
You didn't come from the plane of fire, did you?
No.
Materia plane.
That would be appreciated.
We have two other companions further back. Perhaps we should meet up with them, and then we can point you in the direction we came from.
Thank you.
Of course.
I am Halcyed.
And I'm Agatha.
The four of the one in front and the one in back. One introduces themselves as Stream, Geyser, and then the two in the middle are Ford and Pebble. Alva and Ugo Go. How's your dice game going?
I don't know. How is it going, Alva?
Just knowing Alva and Ugo, we definitely get a little rowdy.
Probably.
Yeah. Yep. So definitely get a little rowdy. I would say, Alva starts out with the lead, but then, Hugo definitely catches up, and now it's neck and neck.
I almost feel like it goes from like actual legitimate dice to like you roll, he like whacks, whatever it's sitting on, so the dice jump just to see what happens.
Oh yeah, there's definitely blatant cheating happening.
Oh yeah,
on both sides.
Just cackling it every single time. Not the personal, just having some fun.
At the tail end.
No, it's a...
At the tail end of Agatha and Halcyed's conversation, you do hear like rowdiness.
Agatha just shakes her head, knowing it came from them.
Mm-hmm. It would appear that your group is not the only one that is a beacon to everything in the Shadowfell.
Yep.
For different reasons.
They seem a little joyous in this place of sorrow.
Well, we did just arrive, so that might have something to do with it.
Okay, are you coming back with us to the rest of your group? Though I don't know how I feel about... At least we were quiet.
Well, as long as we stay together, if something attacks us, we can fight it together.
Noir, did you say something? I think you were too quiet or you were muted.
He just says, we will get them quiet.
One way or another. Sorry, were you going back with them, or are you scouting the other place as well?
I'll go back with them.
I will scout the other place.
Okay. Agatha, you walk this group of 4 water genasi back to Alva and Ugo Go. Alva and Ugo Go, Agatha returns with 4 water genasi in tow. 2 are looking
Friends?
off into the distance. The other 2 are more alert.
Are your friends in need of aid?
They came to this plane from the plane of water, and I offered to show them the direction in which we came from so they can hopefully escape this place. I thought it was best to come back here.
Have you able trackers among you?
The one in the front speaks. I know a little bit, but... And then she juts a thumb to the one directly behind her. Ford was the most able tracker among us. I can follow footprints.
Excellent. If you follow those, and he points at Fox's massive footprints, you will find our route.
I think I could do that.
Have you need of an escort?
I think we'll be okay.
Just nodding along sagely.
Alva will summon good berries.
Okay.
And we'll go over to the water genasi, arms full of good berries. And we'll say she'll start in primordial.
Yeah.
And she'll say, cousins, it is tragic to see you in such a dark space, but hopefully you will get out of here soon and think of the stories that you have to tell now.
They respond in primordial. Thank you, cousin. I hope the well wishes will be able to carry us through to a new day.
And good berries. Here, have some. Maybe they will lighten your soul.
And the group partakes in good berries. Halcyed.
Yep.
How high are you flying?
Yeah, 75.
75 move speed.
Yep.
Okay. You are able to make your way up to this fortress. I'm going to need you to make another stealth check, please.
Okie dokie. Another 28.
Dang.
18 plus 10.
Woof.
I was born in the dark,
You were.
molded by it. Did not see the light of day until I was already a man. I did. It was nothing but blinding. Okay, I'm sorry.
It is. Hold on. It is simple enough for you to sneak upon this. It's hard to call it a settlement, but you definitely see buildings. You see a wall with guards patrolling the top. Homes. What seems, it's not a castle or a fortress, as I already said, but definitely a large stone sturdy building centered in the middle. What's the word I'm looking for?
Settlement?
It's similar to a settlement, but maybe like a fort, like a military fort is the most comparable in the center. And you do see figures walking around. They don't seem to be Shadowkai. And it's not all military people. You definitely see unarmed, humanoid-shaped figures. Ones that are not carrying weapons, but there are others that are carrying weapons.
I'm going to fly deeper into the fort.
Like descending into?
Yeah, I'm gonna hit ground.
Okay.
And is there like an obvious official or a leader?
Not on the streets. You don't see anything from where you can see. From where you are.
Yeah, that's enough. He's just gathering info. So he's just gonna fly back to his group.
Okay. When you do touch down, though, I'm assuming you touch down in like between two buildings in like an alleyway or something along those lines. Okay.
We're Clark Kenting it.
What was that?
We're Clark Kenting it. Just
down. Yeah, your passive perception's pretty high. Some of these creatures do pass by the alleyway. They are mostly humanoid shaped. It really depends on who's passing by, but some are reminiscent of humans, some are reminiscent of elves with the pointed ears. Occasionally, you do see a very short figure, so possibly a gnome or a halfling, and one in the shape of like a dragonborn with the maw and scales kind of made out of shadows. They all seem to be dark and made out of shadow. You get an odd vibe. Settlements that are not Shadowkai are very rare to come by in the Shadowfell. Not uncommon. Occasionally the Shadowfell does suck up places from the material plane, but people surviving is first time you've seen it.
Strange. God, he's torn because he wants to know, but it's better to do it with greater numbers. So he's just gonna look up and just do his Superman thing and fly back to the group.
Okay. Make one more check.
Stealth?
Yes. Fly in, fly out.
That one's not great. That's a 15. I rolled a 5.
You do, hold on. Oh, That's fuck. Yeah. You do hear a couple shouts from behind you, but you're way too fast. They weren't like... They were shouts of startlement. As you... Clark Kent out of there. Superman out.
Yeah, he's just gonna go back to the rest of the group. I would like to sneak up on Ugo and Alva though.
Oh, that'll be easy. for Ugo anyway. I don't know about Alva.
Do I roll a stealth check for this?
I'm gonna let this be up to you guys for how you want to handle this. If you want to roll, you can roll.
I'll roll, but I don't have high hopes for him. I mean, what, you roll a 5, you still get a 15?
So petty! This is a waste! No.
That's a
nat 20.
Yep, fuck it.
Yeah.
This stealth was a 30.
Which is sad because he got an 18. I was proud of him.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
It's gonna descend down upon you two quietly.
Which is,
go.
Yeah.
Can we say it was something to the effect of, like, on the one hand, Ugo's used to being like on somewhat of an alert and being out in the middle of nowhere and exposed. So, like, even though he's been rowdy and loud, it's like, I'm kind of aware. It doesn't matter here. Obviously.
Like he's just going to go, I could hear you two from hundreds of feet away. Like right in your ear.
Like, slow-mo swipe at you.
Oh no.
Alva would definitely let out like a little bit of like a yip. Yip.
How does Agatha react to this? Because I don't think you can beat a 30.
Probably not. She was probably, while they were doing dice, reading a book, so she probably jumped, but he wasn't in her ears, so it was more of a, oh, didn't realize you came back.
And at this point, the Water Genasi have left, following Ox's footprints the way you came.
There is a settlement only a couple hundred feet away from here, filled with shadow humanoids of all different races. I have never seen such a settlement in the Shadowfell before. Usually the Shadowfell can absorb land from the material plane, but the idea of anybody surviving that process, it's impossible. I would love to return to learn more, but I could use your numbers.
I would love to see what you are talking about. Also, we are looking for 2 humans, so perhaps they have also seen or know of and or are amongst them.
Very true. Even if they aren't, it could be interesting to see what happened with the settlement, if it was sucked up by the Shadowfell or something else.
There were many of them there. Should this turn combative, prepare yourself. Though they did not seem to be aggressive.
Is this a situation that would call for more stealthy measures, or are we just going to walk in and introduce ourselves and take it from there?
Why not both? Those who wish to be unseen remain unseen. And we do some talking.
I agree with Ugo Go.
I agree as well. We could see how they react when we walk up.
So, Ugo and I will proceed as in normal everyday travelers, and then Hal and Agatha just do your thing?
There are no everyday travelers, merchants in the Shadowfell, but I understand your meeting. Be safe.
We just thought, what did you not see? This. They're just.
Yes, but there's never been any shadow folk like this. I must confess to you, I don't know what's going on here, so just be safe.
We'll just have to find out.
And take care of horse. And he hands you the reins.
Yeah, just tie horse's reins to the other side of ox's reins.
Horse right next to
No. It's
Other side.
mistletoe.
It's
ox,
time to bully.
so that there's rhino between them, because if he's bullying the baby, we cannot have that.
No, protect the pony at all costs.
Yes.
Protect the pony.
I expect memes out of this. Protect. I've known mistletoe for one day, but I would kill everyone.
And then myself. Hal is gonna give Horse a kiss on the mane, and then
For this, I'm gonna pull my broom out and fly up, so I'm not on the ground.
Okay. Ugo Go and Alva, you are able. It's simple enough to begin making your way towards this walled settlement while Agatha and Halcyed fly above. Neither of you see those two because I'm assuming you're just definitely not for Alva. Alva can't see. And if Ugo Go can see, it's barely with how dark it is here.
And they quickly leave his range, so it's just like, where'd they go?
I don't know. They disappeared. I don't know. But it's really simple enough to begin making your way there, especially, and once you're more or less within range, there is movement. There is the shuffling of sound coming across this savannah where it seems like people are making their way towards the front because your light is not concealed.
No. In fact, Yugo's going to actually undim the hooded lantern to where it's doing it's not its full range of light, but
Right.
more than it was.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah. The torch won't be. I won't. I'll dismiss the light charm on the torch.
Okay. Regardless, as you get closer, you do see a couple of the figures I described earlier. Just medium-sized humanoids wielding one a sword, a spear. Not 100% threatening, but cautious and wary as you approach.
Strangers, what news do you have of these lands?
The one in the middle speaks. State your business.
We are travelers. We are looking for our companions. 2 humans.
Travelers. People don't travel here.
Unfortunately, as this place is encroaching on the material plane, we must travel here.
They all kind of like look at each other, just do that side eye. Do you want to roll me a persuasion check, Ugo Go?
I would. That is a dirty 20.
A couple more glances are exchanged between the three of them. And they will lower their weapons cautiously. We don't know anything. But we can take you to the leader here, who might know something.
Thank you.
The two move out of the way. And the third opens the gate behind them. It's like a 10-foot wide gate once it's open. And they step aside.
This has already gone considerably better than I expected.
I know, right? They just let us in. Like, who does that?
Well, we are not hostile.
Yet.
It is refreshing.
Alva, when you get closer and walk by, you do notice that they do have suspicion in their eyes. And just antsy. In fact, as you are led by the third one, you do see a lot of anxiousness out of a lot of the people here. Agatha and Halcyed, how are you following? Or landing, still following?
Now that I see that they've crossed the threshold, I'm gonna land on a rooftop. I'm assuming they're rooftops, and just follow them from the rooftops, staying in the shadows.
Okay.
And I will stay up in the air enough that I can see them and see Halcyed kind of just back a little more, so I'm watching what's happening.
But you're still flying?
Yes.
Okay. Halcyed, make a stealth check, please.
Let's go.
All the stealth checks.
Not as good. 18. I would waste my 20 on a petty, scare my own party. So, yeah. That's okay. That's fine.
You said it was a dirty 20?
No, I got an 18.
18, okay. There's a lot of 2-story buildings, so you seem okay so far.
Okay.
But you are able to follow them as Alva and Ugo Go. You are led towards the center stone building. I'll be right back. And they enter.
And we're staying outside. Is that what the...
Yeah, it was obvious they would come back out, is what is implied.
Is the raven still in the sky that I can see?
Not in the sky, but it is following you. It occasionally perches down on and when you were in the woods, it was on a tree. And it was following you to here. Now it's like perched on a rooftop. Sufficiently... it followed you. It's hard to see for you, but it was definitely following you on the way here. A couple minutes later, the door opens again. Kevison said that he would see you. The fact
Thank
that
you.
if you go straight and then take a left, there is a door. He is in there.
And where should we leave our mounts at this time?
Motions to a post. And scarpers.
Ugo leads Ox to the post, does not tie him to the post, and is prepared to leave. Just pats Ox. Keep them here.
Yeah, Alva pats Mistletoe, and then passes by a horse. Thinks better about patting horse, and instead just gives like a gentle head nod in horse's general direction.
Respect.
And follows Ugo.
Agatha and Halcyed, they are entering this building. Are you following?
I I'd like to see if I can find any other entrance into the building.
Okay. Let's do Agatha first, then I'll get to you.
Okay.
If the guard walks away from the door, I'll try to land like behind him as he's walked away to follow in.
Mm-hmm. There's definitely less people closer to this fortress than in the outskirts and more towards the buildings. So I'll say that is simple enough. Alva and Ugo Go, Agatha has joined you.
Well, how did they seem when you first walked up?
Cautious.
Very suspicious. Again, it does not seem that there are many travelers in this area, so they were a bit confused, but we are going to talk to the leader now.
Fair enough.
I think I will be upset if it turns out to be some kind of necromancer. Perhaps that's rude to think, but...
I suppose it's a possibility here, but we'll have to see, I guess.
Okay. Do the three of you enter? Okay. Halcyed, you said you want to try to find a different entrance.
Hmm?
Okay.
Just in case they're walking into a trap, I want to be able to get them out.
Okay. Roll either investigation or perception.
Ooh. Perception.
Okay.
23?
With your aerial advantage, the fact that you can have an aerial advantage, there are a couple of... Before I finish this sentence, do you plan on leaving the same way you entered? Or do you plan on meeting up with them?
If it turns out not to be a trap, I'll probably leave with them. Oh no! If it turns out not to be a trap, I'll probably leave the way I came in. If it is a trap, I'll be leaving out there with them.
Is a trap is a trap with them, not a trap the way you came. So like.
Yep.
Okay. So yes, there is a second story, several second story windows that can be entered.
Okay.
There are a couple towards the front, one or two are towards the back. Back would probably be the better entryway.
Okay. So that's how he's doing it.
Okay. As you enter this mysterious fortress of a people that even the native Shadarkai Halcyed is not aware of. We're gonna end a couple minutes early.
No!
Okay? We only got 5 minutes.
I know, it's all good.
Cliffhanger!
Cliffhangers are great. Yep.
Thought about ending with a different cliffhanger, but I think it's better at next week. Anyway, everybody, thank you for joining us for session 2 of Veil of Shadows. We're gonna do sign-offs where everyone's gonna tell you where you can find them on social media, any other projects that we might have, and their favorite part. Who wants to go first?
I went first last time.
All right,
I go last.
Hi, everybody. I'm Noir. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok now because I remembered my password as the Noir Enigma. If you want to see where I'm at next, tomorrow morning I'll be producing and playing in Kids on Bikes on the Roll20 channel, and you can just look at my pin tweet to see where else I am. Favorite moment of this game, of this session, I liked our conversation. Like, I love the conversation of like, here's what I do, here's how, I love team building moments like that. So just, I loved Agatha's like, yo, I'm sorry I hit y'all with the fireball. It might happen again. Kind of attitude.
Fair
Sorry,
warning.
not sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's me.
Popcorn it.
Oh, popcorn.
Yeah.
Now I have the power. I'm going to give it to Shadow. Hey, how's it going?
Hi, I'm Shadow. You can find me over on Twitter at ShadowBookCat. Mostly just pictures of my cat, but occasionally I tell you when I'm doing TTRPG things across the web. Mostly for the next several Sundays, I'll be here, open for adventure, 7:30 Central, doing Shadowfell. And then 9 a.m. Pacific time next Sunday, May 2nd, I'll be over on Caitlin's birthday stream over on a Theater Files Twitch channel where it's a charity stream and I'm in the Genesis one shot. Oh, favorite moment. I think my favorite moment was Hal and Agatha intercepting and meeting another set of unlikely travelers, and just how they were able to handle that without unnecessary conflict. And I'll pass it over to Forta.
All right. Hi, I'm Forta. You can find me on Twitter at FortaVare. You can find me at like ArtStation and a couple other sites at LexArts with 2 X's, but like honestly, I don't hardly ever post there anymore. It's sad but true. You can find me Saturday mornings for at least a couple more episodes over on Chromatic Chimera, where we're doing Mass Effect. And that's exciting. You can find me alternating Saturday evenings. So this coming Saturday, I'll be on Polished Cryptid's channel doing Blades in the Dark. I'll be GMing it, and it'll be hopefully exciting. And if not, I'm sorry. And then Tuesday, you can find me really early Tuesday morning for US folks. Also on Polished Cryptid's channel, doing more D&D stuff. So exciting. Favorite thing that happened tonight is that jump scare. Favorite thing. Oh my gosh, it was so great. Oh,
And then
popcorn.
I suppose it's my turn.
Yep.
All right. I'm Sev. You can find me at Guildmaster Sev basically everywhere. My stream schedule is kind of off at the moment. I'm reworking what I'm doing, so if you follow me on Twitter, I'll be posting on there whenever I go live again. And then other than that, I'll be here on Sundays playing this game. My favorite moment, I think, was Alva and Ugo playing dice in Shadowfell. Them just being rowdy and playing dice in the middle of the Shadowfell.
That leaves me. Hi, I'm Mare. You can find me on Twitter at Archmage of Dice. Every Sunday evening, you can find me here, DMing this lovely Shadowfell game. I also have a Twitch schedule set up. Go check it out. But on Saturday afternoons, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I run an Invisible Sun game on my channel. They're about to enter the gray sun, and I'm so excited. This coming Friday, I am playing in a game of Sunken at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Graham Cracker's channel. Sunken is a nautical horror where, spoiler alert, all the players will most likely die by the end. It's great, it's fun, it's gonna be fine. And next Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific, I think, I'm gonna be running a D&D 5e game set in this same setting, but this time in the Shadowfell's opposite, the Feywild, and it's gonna be wacky. It's gonna be fun. Have some fun incentives. just so everyone knows, the fundraiser will be going towards the Actors Fund if you want to join us that day. My favorite part, besides the fact that y'all were playing dice, because I was going to say that, I think it was when like more than half, like about half the party was just saying to Agatha, yeah, if you need to drop another fireball on me, just do it. And I think that's it. So everybody, will see you next week, and have a lovely, lovely start of your week on Monday tomorrow. Bye.
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 Bye.